On the occasion of the National Press Day celebrated yearly on October 22nd, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sent a courtesy message to the Algerian press. In his message, President Tebboune paid tribute to all those who made sacrifices in the name of the profession, recalling that these sacrifices helped making the press and communication sector the scene of their ambitions and struggles, and that ever since the early days of the national movement and even during the glorious liberation war, fighting with their own means to preserve the nation's identity and to make Algeria's voice heard in its darkest days of French colonization. This is also an opportunity to hail the memory of the martyrs who died while fulfilling their duty toward the nation, especially those who were murdered during the dark years of terrorism. In his message, the President of the Republic reiterated his gratitude to those who remained faithful to Algeria, free and sovereign, all the professionals of the national press whose passion has been passed down to a new generation of journalists who in turn have become the pillars of Algeria's stability and national security. Furthermore, President Tebboune stressed on the sacrality and the need for them to adapt to the digital era by creating domestic content likely to inspire confidence with a conviction and credibility to be broadcast by the media or modern communication platforms. The President of the Republic further emphasized the need for more efforts in acquiring the tools and means which are necessary to withstand the fourth-generation war that is targeting Algeria through plots orchestrated to undermine the building of the new Algeria. The President of the Republic added that Algeria will be fully able to face up to these vile attempts thanks to the vigilance of the Algerian people. The theme chosen this year for the Prize of the President of the Republic for Professional Journalists was entitled Information Between Freedom and Responsibility, which expresses the distinction between the media as a system governed by professional regulations and a code of ethics on one hand, and the opportunistic and mercenary marketing that invests in individuals devoid of consciousness on the other hand. This choice also highlights the interdependent relationship between freedom of the press as one of the most fundamental human rights that must be permanently consolidated, and the responsibility to respect the professional ethics that protect professionals from all forms of excesses and abuses. This national press will thus be able to protect the noble message of the media from any allegiance to the detriment of professionalism and the right of the citizen to an objective and credible information. In the same context, the President of the Republic is committed to the expansion of the media networks of audiovisual stations, especially in the South and the High Plateaus, as part of a comprehensive approach which will be soon concretized. Finally, the President of the Republic presented his best wishes of success in reaching Algeria's aspirations for an influential and competitive press, thanks to the competences that Algeria holds, which will in time lay the foundations of a democratic and free press at the service of society. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired on Saturday the 7th edition of the award ceremony of journalists who won the prize of the President of the Republic for professional journalists. The ceremony took place at the People's Palace here in Algiers, in the presence of the Chairman of the Council of the Nation, Salah Goujil, Chairman of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman Ben Abderrahman, Chairman of the Constitutional Council, Kamal Finnish, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Said Shingreha, and the Minister of Communication, Ammar Belhimer, along with members of the government, advisors to the President of the Republic, senior officials, and journalists. It's worth recalling that this award is a recognition of the Algerian journalists' role during the National Liberation War and a tribute to professionals of the national press. This prize also aims at promoting national journalism and encouraging creativity and professionalism within the national press, in addition to rewarding the best articles and press reports. A minute of silence was observed in memory of the journalist Hafid Azzouz.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, awarded posthumously the National Merit Order Medal, Al-Ashir, to the late journalist Karim Bousalem. This was a tribute to the deceased, who devoted his life to the service of journalism and its promotion with abnegation, professionalism, and integrity recognized by all, while accomplishing his noble mission with objectivity and neutrality. The medal was handed to his father.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, then honored the jury members in recognition of their efforts. After the ceremony, he took a souvenir picture with the jury members tasked with this edition of the President's Award for Professional Journalists.
On the occasion of the National Press Day, the Minister of Communication, Ammar Belhimer, recalled the importance our country attaches to freedom of expression and respect for ethics. The choice of this theme underlines once again the interest our country gives to the promotion of press freedom while respecting professional deontology and ethics. From now on, we are determined to move forward to consolidate democracy and strengthen the national press, thus contributing to the system of rights and freedoms. Then, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to the Algerian press on the occasion of its National Day, wishing for brighter coming days for serving our country. Following this award ceremony, the laureates expressed their joy and happiness for being honored by the President of the Republic and reiterated their determination to follow this noble mission with abnegation so as to convey clear message to citizens now subject to fake news and the hostile propaganda orchestrated by Algeria's enemies.
Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman bin Abdurrahman, chaired on Saturday a cabinet meeting, during which several draft bills and decrees were presented to the government. The Minister of Justice presented a draft bill related to the Penal Code, while the Minister of Public Works made a presentation pertaining to two projects of executive decrees concerning the operation of public utility, as well as the extension of the National 67 Road and the provincial roads, namely 212 and 145. As for the Trade Minister, he made a presentation related to the Continental Trade Zone costs for the services insured by Algeria. Finally, the government heard a presentation made by the Interior Minister related to 5 transactions on the basis of mutual agreements.
In the framework of the search for the best ways for rapid and balanced implementation of the provisions of the Accord for Peace and Reconciliation in Mali, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Mr. Ramtal Amamra, received on Friday in Algiers the Malian Minister of National Reconciliation and Social Cohesion, Ismail Ouagui, as well as the leader signatory of the Accord for Peace and Reconciliation in Mali, resulting from the Algiers process. These consultations, which are part of Algeria's efforts and its capacity of leader for the international mediation, are mainly aimed at enabling the Malian parties to give a new impetus to the peace and reconciliation process in Mali. In this context, the signatory parties will have the opportunity to deepen discussions on the strategic objectives of the accord. They will also discuss the other 2 pillars of the accord, namely about development and justice issues. These meetings are all the more important as they are being held on the eve of the national refoundation meetings that will determine the outcome of the transition process underway in Mali. Algeria's preserving action is widely supported at the continental and international levels. As part of fighting terrorism and thanks to the efforts of the security services of the ANP, terrorist Uqbawi Sharif, known as Daya Ould Mohammed, surrendered on Friday to the Borj Beji Mukhtar military authorities, which recovered the weapons in his possession. This operation denotes the effectiveness of the ANP's strategy and its great efforts to eradicate this phenomenon and to establish security and peace throughout the national territory.
Dozens of demonstrators, including activists and members of the Friendship and Solidarity Association with the Sahrawi people, took to the Place des Invalides in Paris on Friday. They strongly condemned the Moroccan occupiers' repression and demanded the release of Sahrawi political prisoners. We denounced the French regime and its complicity with the Moroccan government. We demand the release of political prisoners while showing our full support to Sahrawi activists, namely Sultana Khaya, Elwara and Aminatou. For the demonstrators, the French government must assume responsibility by pressuring the Moroccan authorities to put an end to the occupation of Western Sahara. An urgent appeal has been initiated to the United Nations for the establishment of a human rights monitoring mechanism in Western Sahara, as well as the implementation of the EU's decisions related to the ban of the illegal economic activities in the occupied Sahrawi territories.
Following the heavy rains recorded over the past few hours in several provinces of the country, the civil defense elements intervened to help the affected families by these unexpected floodings. Several roads were blocked throughout the country. Rescue efforts are underway to save lives, to minimize the material damage, and to help citizens regain their families as soon as possible. On the second day of his visit to Tamnarast province, the Minister of Tourism Yassin Hamadi officially gave the kickoff for desert tourism season. The minister affirmed on this occasion that the public authorities are ready to support and accompany tourist operators and travel agencies to revive and give a lasting impetus to the tourism sector in the region.